Welcome back, everybody. We have an exciting studio named ROSH Studio, based in Netherlands, who are a creative studio, and they're going to talk about how they've created a Soapbox game in Cinema 4D. We're also going to get a chance, not everybody, maybe everybody, to try it out. I'll let Arjan and Joey take us through the process. So, and please scan the QR code to download the assets as well. Emily, please do that. Yeah. See you later, guys.
Hey guys, my name is Arjan van de Knijff and this is Joey van Dijk. We work at ROSH Studios and we are here to talk about a project that we did lately. But before we are actually getting into that project, we first want to introduce ourselves a little bit further. I'm a 3D designer at ROSH Studios, so I focus on mainly on creating style frames for animations, and I do a little bit of 3D illustrations for various branding projects as well. And in my free time, I like to do this kind of stuff, usually cartoony and colorful, and sometimes, as you can see, a little bit sad.
A sad ghost.
A sad ghost.
I'm actually more of a brand designer, so I work on corporate identities, but I do try to incorporate a lot of 3D into these projects. And in my free time I also like to experiment a little bit with 3D, which is one of them is standing right here, one of the experiments.
So Joey and I actually met in university about 8 years back. And we both graduated together. We did some cool projects together there. And from there on, we even landed a job at the same company. I left that company and went to ROSH Studios. And Joey quickly came after me because I think he missed me.
Yep.
So ROSH Studios, that's where we work. It's a creative agency, and we do 3D animation, motion graphics, graphic design, branding, complete campaigns and marketing, but we are here for the visual stuff. And we also have had the privilege to work for some pretty cool clients. And we also brought our showreel.
All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense. I don't know what you're saying. Don't say what? Would I go? I don't know what you're saying. Don't say what? Would I go? All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense.
I don't know what you're saying, though. Yeah. Tell me now, how did we get so low? Yeah. Tell me now, how did we get so bruised? Yeah.
Tell me now.
How could it be so rude? Swear I'ma lose my cool. I won't be made as a fool now.
I'm tired of retreating.
Don't retreat it.
All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense. I don't know what you're saying, though. Say what? I don't know what you're saying, though. Say what? All that womp sounds to me so obnoxious.
Boy, you played yourself with your nonsense.
I don't know what you're saying, though.
And actually one of the projects that we had the chance to work for, one of the clients we had the chance to work for is NVIDIA. They basically approached us to make something cool, that was the briefing, and show the hardware capabilities of their video cards. We had to make a case video of the project, and apart from that we had total creative freedom, which every creative I think likes to hear. So we got to thinking, what can we do with all that creative freedom? And we actually set the challenge to ourselves, okay, can we make a game inside of Cinema 4D? The program that we usually do for creative stuff, can we take it one step further and actually make a game inside of it? By using all of the various simulation tags and all of the dynamic tags, and see if this is possible. So we thought of inspiration. What kind of game do we want to make? And one thing we like to watch is the Red Bull Soapbox races, which are held throughout Europe, I believe, where basically a team is building a car together, and they try to set the fastest time going down a track. There's only steering and only braking, so no engines or no accelerating, which we also did for our project as well. But nowadays it's quite all over the place, quite a lot of different themes and quite a lot of over-engineering. So we want to take it back one step to probably around the 70s, where you build this car together with your dad, probably in your garage, with stuff you find laying around the house or at the dumpster or somewhere accessible. And then you race that car against your friends on the street somewhere where the hill is. We kind of wanted to embrace that kind of feeling, so keep it nostalgic and more in one theme. So that's how we landed on the concept of the first Cinema 4D Soapbox race. At least we think it's the first one. If you've already done this, then please raise your hand and you can do the presentation. We'll first show you the end result, the one we delivered to NVIDIA, and then we dive into the process and how we've done everything and show you some insights in Cinema 4D.
Creativity, technology, and a good dose of fun. That's how we created the first Cinema 4D Soapbox race. In the old days, you would build a soapbox in your garage. We wanted to give it a try in our workspace, Cinema 4D. It started with a kickoff, a plan, and lots of sketches. The racers got to work developing their soapbox cards. For this, programs like Cinema 4D, Substance Painter, and Photoshop ran at the same time. From car rigs to coding to the final race, we pushed the limits of Cinema 4D. The power of the GeForce RTX 40 series GPUs and the NVIDIA Studio drivers made all of this possible. From start to finish, the entire process was way faster thanks to NVIDIA GeForce RTX.
So how did we make this? Well, we started by building the cars, and we gathered a team. The team consisted out of colleagues who were more than happy to help. So we instructed them. Joe already told that one of the biggest rules was that it should be made out of objects that could be laying around your house. So these are some of the sketches, and now we go to the final cars. So as you can see, the first one is based on the shopping cart, the next one on a drum kit, and the last one on a wheelbarrow. And also the colleagues, the racers itself above it.
The racer lineup.
Yeah, the lineup. And then we have two more actually, a bathtub and an oil drum. And Joe.
All right. So we got the cars, but they're not actually moving yet. So let's dive into Cinema 4D and make these cars move. We have a simplified version of one of the cars, and we'll guide you through the steps how we make all of the cars move. We'll start off by just giving all of them the dynamics tags. So we go to give them the rigid body, which means they can start moving. And when we hit play, it will start falling down. But the floor isn't actually collidable yet, so we can give that a collider body, which means all of the objects should be interacting with the floor. And now the wheels are off on their own adventure, and doesn't look like a car yet. So there's actually a very handy tool inside of Cinema 4D, which is called a suspension, a wheel suspension. And in that way, we can connect the wheels to the car. So I'm going to copy that a few times for every wheel, drag it underneath the first wheel, and I'm making sure that it's on the same orientation as the wheel itself. So by Alt-zeroing, we set the PSR to the right location. Then we connect the wheel itself in the object panel to the body of the car. And I'll quickly do that for the other ones as well. Right location. and I think they should be connected. So let's give it a try. And it does work, but if I zoom in a little bit, you'll probably see that the base is too heavy for the current suspension. So the body slams into the floor of the body of the car slams into the floor. So if we grab all of them together, we can actually crank up the stiffness. So let's increase it quite fairly. Give it another try. It does seem to hold the car well, but it seems to bounce a little bit too much. So if we increase the damping, let's say by 2, I think this should be a smoother experience. And as you can see, the car is able to actually go down the track. It's movable.
Yeah, so the next part will be make him then steer. And we've got the steering wheel over there. And we wanted to hook that up to Cinema 4D. On default, Cinema 4D doesn't handle any kind of controller or steering wheel input. So we had to figure out another way. We went on the internet, but we couldn't find a suitable plugin for that as well. So we thought we would just dive into Python and try to make the plugin ourselves. And with a little bit of help from a friend, we actually managed to create it.
We're not coders.
We're not coders, we're actually designers, so for us it was a deep dive. So we used the Pygame module. Pygame is a module that is used within Python to create games. So actually in there is a sort of listener for that kind of stuff. So we could use that to create the plugin. And now I have some proof that we actually did that. So now under extensions we got our plugin. We've got the steering right here, and this will give us a value from -1 to 1, and that will come in handy when we are trying to hook this thing up. So the first thing that we want to do right now is get to espresso, and we want to have this one in there. And then we also want the front wheels, because if we have the back wheels, it's going to be very hard to steer. And then, the steering angles that we are going to use here are in degrees. And we are coming from, I think it's integers or something, or floats. So we need a range mapper for that to convert this data. So what we want to do here is we want to get the steering. We want to hook it up there, and then we want to hook these two up in there. So now in the range mapper, you've got the input, that's just fine as it is, but now we want this on degrees. And -60 and 60, and Joey, if you want, you can go to the steering wheel. And then we actually need to make sure that it's flipped. I'm still not sure why, but we go from 1 to -1 instead of -1 to 1. So, and when we hit play now and Joey does its job right, then we should have some steering. There's something funky going on there, but that's because the steering wheel is probably not centered. But doesn't matter, the steering works. Little dance here.
Okay, so we got the car. It's moving, and we're able to steer the car. Now we actually need a racetrack to race these cars on. A quick side note, I think it's already introduced, but there is probably a chance to ride for one of you guys. So pay close attention. This might help you down the road. We made various obstacles with various degrees of difficulty and some nice challenges. Here's a compilation of the course. So remember them. Try to remember them. It might be easier if you actually encounter them along the way. For most of them, there's actually two options. There's the green one, the green option, which is the safer version. You need more braking, but it's safer to get through. We have the red one, high reward, high risk. It's also more spectacular. So maybe you just go for that one for the nice views. But it's faster most of the times, but it's also more risky, and you risk not even getting to the finish. So let's dive back into Cinema and rig some of these obstacles. We have a few simplified versions laid out. We'll skip the first ones, fairly easy for time's sake. Let's start with this pile of tires. And we actually want those to have dynamics as well. So I'm getting the folder. Oh no, this one. Let's give it a rigid body as well. And because it's at the null on top, and we set this one to apply tag to all children, all of those will get the same settings as the null above it. So let's see if this works. And as you can see, we have a problem. The tires are already sliding down the slope before the car even hits it. And also another problem you can't see directly here is that we have a bunch of those tires scattered across the track. And if you want to, and Cinema has to calculate all of those interactions at the same time for the whole obstacle course, we make way too much to compute. So we don't want Cinema to calculate anything that doesn't need calculating at the moment. So if we go into the dynamic settings, we can actually set the trigger to on collision instead of immediately, which means it won't do anything until something hits it, basically. So they stay in place, and Cinema is only calculating the data once something rams into it, which solves both of these problems. The next one is the seesaw, where we have two components. One is the base, which needs to stay in place, and we have the plank on top. The base, like I said, needs to stay at the same place, so we'll just give it a collider body. And then the plank needs to move on top of the base, so we'll give that a rigid body. And let's make it a little bit less heavy so we can see what we're doing. And if we hit play, it does seem to move. But as you can see, it's not really connected to each other. The car is able to push the ramp away instead of go over it. So to fix that, we do something quite similar to the suspension that we already used, but this time just a connector instead of a suspension. We put it underneath the base, Alt-0 it again for it to be in the right location. And I'm quickly going to upscale it to see what we're doing. So basically the yellow part is able to rotate around the light blue part. So it seems like the orientation is still not correct. It needs to go this way, because right now the plank can move over the base. We still need to connect them, so we take the base and the plank. And you can see it's drawing a little line, so that means it's probably working. So let's hit play again. And it seems they are connected, but something weird is happening with the car and the plank, which is actually a setting inside of the dynamics tag. On the collision tab, it's set to shape automatic, which means it's the fastest way of computing, but it draws like a simple bounding box around the shape, and you aren't able to go inside the shape, so to say. A little bit hard to explain, but if you set this to moving mesh, Cinema takes a little bit more power to calculate, I guess, and is able to calculate the intersections. So right now it is moving, just the driving isn't on point yet. Okay, so the seesaw is working. Let's go to the next one. This one is the most complicated. Well, I'll try to explain it correctly. We basically have two ramps with tires on them, and we want the tires to try to hit the car as it goes along this track. This isn't actually a wall; it's a collider detector. So what we want to do is, as soon as the car is colliding with this object, we want the wheels to start rolling down the hill. So it's timed correctly. So let's first give all of the wheels a rigid body, so they're able to start going down the track. Whereas, like I said, the timing isn't correct, so it's not really stopping the car. So we need some kind of detection method. So let's go into Espresso. Let's load in the actual detector. And we need the base of the car. And then there's this nice collision node inside of Espresso. It requires 2 object inputs, so let's set both of these to object. And let's get a result in there to see what we're doing, what's happening. Oh. So right now it's giving a value of 0 because the car and the box aren't colliding. But if I hit play and wait till they actually are colliding, it gives us back a value of 0 or of 1. So we can use the data to drive the moment the tires should start falling down the track. So let's get the dynamic stack of the tires, and inside of here is oh, that's the wrong one. I need this one. And inside of here, you see there is a wait, it's here. Right now it's set to immediately, so they immediately start going down the rails or the track when we hit play. We want that to be Espresso, and then once the collision is happening, we want to be set back to immediately. So we get a condition node in here, and over here we can one sec. We want this to switch it. Oh, that's not the right one. And we want this to go from 4, which is the Espresso one, to 0, which is the immediately. And if we put that into the dynamics trigger, it should change these values that I just talked about. So it changes this one. So right now it's on 4 because there's no collision, which is Espresso. And once the collision is happening, it should set it to immediately, which means the tires are waiting, and as soon as the collision is happening, they actually try to stop the car. Didn't do a very good job, but they should make it a little bit harder to get through this obstacle. So yeah, those are some of the obstacles explained in cinema.
So yeah, the next part would be adding some extra gaming ingredients. And the most important thing that for now is the following camera, because we ran into a little problem with that. So what we have here is a dummy track. We also got the car and we got a camera. And when we hit play, we have a pre-recorded run that actually goes wrong in the end. And now we want the camera to follow this car. So the best way to do that is to get a constraint. So we're actually putting it on the null above it, so we can move around freely with the camera. And what we want to do next is make sure that the constraint is on transform, and then we are going to target the base of the car. So now this null takes over the rotational values as well as the position values. And when we are going into the camera right now, we can actually see that we are following the camera, but it is really janky. And that's because it's also taking over the rotational values at this point, and that's where the constraint comes in handy, because we can just simply turn it off. So now it's only taking the position, but as you can see here, especially at this point, you cannot see far ahead anymore, and that's not what we want. So we are in need of some rotational values as well, but this next part I find hard to explain. So I'm going to build a simple rig that is going to give us the rotational values in the end. And for that I just hide the car for now, and I have a arrow here. So what I want to do is put a align to spline on there, and then make it look at the racetrack, because we also have a spline in the center of the road, and I want this one actually on the arrow, and I want this one on it's this spline. So if we go through the position right now, we can see that the arrow is actually following the spline, but it's not turning in the corners yet. And if we hit this box, the tangential, we can actually see that it is moving through the corner, but it's still not pointing in the right way because we're on the wrong axis. If we put it on this one, then we can actually see that we are going through the corners. So now we have something that can give us the rotational values that we were looking for. But yeah, if we are bringing the car back, the arrow is still not following the car. And for that we need a little bit of espresso again. And then we are going to use a node that's called get nearest point on spline. And what that does actually is give us the closest position on the spline based on the base of the car. So if we put in the coordinates position, global position into there, and we are going to do this thingy into there. Yep. Then we can actually grab the align to spline that we created earlier. And because this is in percentages and the outcome of this will be on percentages as well of the spline, we can actually hook those two up. Position, spline position into position. And now we will be able to see that the arrow is actually following the car along the track now. And what we can do now is steal the rotational values from the arrow and put them on the camera. And for that we are going to use another constraint. And this constraint will be on any transform as well. And then this time we already have the position, so we are only going to use the rotation. And we are going to look at the arrow. So if we go into the camera and hide this one, we should go through the corners at the same time as the car does, and it actually does.
So you can always see ahead. You see the track
Yeah,
ahead.
and now you can always see ahead. And now you can even, that's the nice part of this, you can actually change the camera and what position you want, and it will actually always follow the car. In the final version we made it a little bit smoother, but this is the basics of how we did it.
Okay, so one of the other gaming ingredients is map loading. Like I said, there are a lot of obstacles on the course, a lot of interactable stuff. For cinema to calculate everything at the same time would be too much to do at once. So we actually need a system where we only load the part that actually needed at the moment. So just imagine the car going through the corner, the camera is following and approaching the first obstacle. We want to load that, view that, and enable all of the dynamics. And as soon as we're past it, we want to disable it and move on to the second one and enable that one. So that means cinema only has to calculate one of the obstacles at a time and is able to do it way faster. Here's a demonstration. So as we approach the first corner, the first one's disabled, the first one is enabled or disabled. And we do that for all of the obstacles along the course. And we did actually have a file prepared for that, but I think for time's sake we skip it so we have more time for racing.
You can do that thing.
Yeah? Okay, let's do it. Let's.
If you just hurry up, you can do it, I think.
I'll do it fast. So here's a simplified version. We have the same animation, so the car going through the course. Just imagine the blue primitives being the obstacles, and the pink boxes are the bounding boxes to see if it's colliding. So it's basically the same as one of the obstacles that I already explained. We need a collision tag that calculates whether the base of the car is colliding with one of the boxes. Set both to object again. So now we're calculating whether this is actually colliding, whether the car is in proximity of the first obstacle. And then we need a way of hiding it and not being able to calculate the data that's not necessary. And luckily there is a nice system in cinema called layers. and we actually prepared 2 layers already. One is the default one, which is show. The other one is hidden. And the hidden isn't showing it in the viewport, it isn't showing it in the render, and it's also not calculating all of the dynamics and all of the computing power. So we want to switch in between those. We want to make sure the obstacles are in either one of those layers. So let's get back to Espresso. We need a condition again to translate this 0 and 1 to more usable data. This one we actually want to be a link, because we can link both of the layers. We can put them in here, and now it's able to switch between those. So we use this to drive the switch. Then we load in the obstacle itself, so the sphere for this one. We get the layer, because we want to drive the layer data of that object, and we can put it in there. So that means now it's able to switch between those layers. You can already see it happening over here. It's giving it the hidden layer, because they're not colliding. And as soon as the car is inside of the collision detector, it sets the layer to visible again. So let's do it quickly for the other ones. Already prepared that, luckily. And now if we go to the track, we should only load one obstacle at a time.
Yeah, so all the dynamics are as well turned on and off, and that's pretty handy, because at some point, if you have all those tires rolling around, it gets clogged up.
Dan moet ik door. Yeah. Okay, so we have the Soapbox cars. They can ride, they can steer. We got the racetrack to race on. We got some gaming ingredients to make it a nicer gaming experience. So here's the end result. You see Peter from the office who is driving his car down the racetrack. It's steering, the camera's moving along with it, and all of the obstacles are interactable. So that means we're actually ready for race day. We organized a day at the office where we set up a nice camera rig so we could document the whole process to use on the video later on. We got all of the office together, had some pizza and some beers, and all of the racers were invited to try to set the fastest time. And that's when we encountered that it's actually way too hard. Both of us, we are testing and tweaking all the time, so we're able to get all of the cars down the track. But for the ones who didn't have the experience, it was way harder, which did result in quite some fun footage. Actually, 2 of the races didn't even get to the finish. Everyone got like 20 or 30 tries, I believe. And the fun part is, in the actual Soapbox race, a lot of the drivers also don't get to the finish. So, although it was unplanned, it was fun that it was a nice representation of the real world. And this does lead to the most fun footage, I believe. Luckily, there were 3 of the 5 who did get to the finish. We wrote a little script that kind of for every keyframe along the race, record all of the data from the cars, the tires, the obstacles, and keyframes that, so we have that data to use in a later stage.
Yeah, so the last part that we had to do is, we were just looking all the time in the viewport. We actually had some high poly models laying around as well, so we had to swap the keyframes from the one to the other. Also add some lighting, texturing, and we needed to build a world around it. And for that we went to San Francisco, not in real life unfortunately, but on Google Maps. We drove around there and we found the geometrical look of the city, and we found it just very stunning, and we thought it would be a good thing to add to our game, especially the steep hills. Maybe too steep, but speed is fun, right? So we actually built the whole world around it, and then we had to render all the runs, and that's the end of our presentation. First of all, we want to thank Maxon, of course, for having us here, and now we want to see some hands for people that dare to go on the seat. And if nobody's doing it, go ahead.
All right.
You can help him?
Yeah.
And I'll set it up.
Okay, basically it's just the steering wheel and this one for braking. And if you can reach it right, we can also put a little bit close together. Wait. All right.
So it's even harder on this screen because it has a little bit of latency. So yeah, I wish you good luck.
And if you want to go again, just notice and we'll do a reset of the course.
I'll reset it for you. Oh, yeah, that one actually bumped into the body of the car, I think.
And one tip: a lot of braking does work. Just controlling your pace, so to say. Yeah, if you can save it.
You can do them backwards. We've seen people do that as well. I'll reset it. But it's no shame that you don't come that far in the...
No, like we said,
very hard,
we made it
yeah.
way too hard.
Especially the latency makes it even harder now. Yeah, we can do another camera. We actually let the people. I don't know where it is. Can you do that? Can you do the
POV?
Yeah, I don't know where it is. But we actually did it in this view because we wanted to have it in the same view as we rendered it. So yeah, it made it a bit harder. And this one is not completely. This camera is not completely. Yeah. The settings aren't right.
Just try a lot of braking. It will be easier. Just yeah, go slowly down. Oh, sorry, down the slope.
Oh, that's a nice jump, though.
Okay, saved it. Nice.
This is the best run so far. Yeah, sometimes you can wiggle yourself free,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, so this camera doesn't have the nice camera tweaks to make it easier.
yeah, they're right.
Spectacular, nice.
Is there somebody else who wants to try it? Ross wants
Yeah.
to try it?
Okay. Yeah, so left pedal is braking and just normal steering. And like I said, a lot of braking and controlling your pace helps a lot. Yeah. And I think slide steering also works. It's kind of, yeah, it steers a lot when you do little tweaks. Nice.
So far, so good. Oh,
Nice grind.
and land on. Oh, no.
Maybe. You want to try the other camera as well? Yeah? Ja, dat is ook wel wat druk.
Oeh.
Almost. Nice.
Ooh.
Almost a shortcut. Does someone else want to give it a try? Wil jij nog een keer racen? Wil jij nog een keer?
No.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I can try. It's a long time ago as well.
The latency is gonna kill you, Joe.
Yeah, probably.
So far, so good.
Yeah. Let's go for the grind. Oh. Yeah, it is way hard over here.
Yeah. Maybe you have to just look at the screen here, and then you'll get it.
Okay.
Probably go to the right here as well then. Or are you going for speed?
I don't know. Let's go for speed.
Just line it up and then let it go. Should be alright.
Okay, okay, okay.
Good jump.
Oh, this one's hard. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
Nice, nice. 2 more to go.
Yeah, but I know this one. Just brake and wait, yeah.
Oh. That almost went wrong there. Are you going through the middle?
No. There were extra points when you get the cone on the top and make it to the finish.
Yeah. Well, you have actually done it.
Almost.
Well, the fastest time that we did in the office was about 58 seconds, I think.
Yeah, not even close.
So this is really slow, but yeah, it's easier if you do it on this screen because of the latency, of course. Still, anybody wants to try it, or?
I think we're out of time as well, right?
Hmm?
Are we out of time? Yeah.
Yeah, we still got time.
Yeah, we still got time. Does anybody else want to try it? Don't be shy.
It's too
Matthias?
hard, right?
Dimi? Come on, guys. Anybody? Go for it. We'll try and set it up after as well for people
Yeah,
to try it.
It's
yeah?
probably easier when with the laptop screen because
Yeah,
less
we'll
latency.
try. We'll set it
Yeah.
up somewhere here.
Yeah.
And not with many eyes on you, it's probably easier as well.
Yeah, the reset.
Yeah. I think the steering wheel is flipped.
Oh, you need the red one needs to be on top, the red line.
Let's check. Yeah, it could, the
That's good, man.
oh, that's good. It's this one, right? The POV.
Hmm?
Is this the, but which one is the POV?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the camera.
He's going for pace. Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
And keep track of the times. Then you have a winner.
And we do have a stopwatch in there, so it's recording the times as well. Damn.
One last time.
This is it. You'll get this
Yeah.
one.
All the 6 obstacles. Come on. One run. Too much pressure.
Thank you so much, guys. This has been amazing. I'm sure a lot of guys over here would have questions for you. You'll be around. We'll set this up somewhere here so you all can try it as well, so that nobody else sees how many times you're crashing. We'll be back in like 10 minutes with amazing Layla Khalili, who's going to talk about ZBrush. Please scan the QR code for a chance of winning Maxon 1 license, and we will see you shortly. Thank you both.
Thank you.